fan stream sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show as we come to you. Have a little technical difficulties this morning, but we're going to work it all out. Nick Geddes is here from On3 Sports. We've got Rays news to tell you about at the sale. Lots of stuff going on over the weekend. Of course, the Rays take 2 of 3 from the Tigers, the supposed best team in baseball, best record in baseball. We'll get into that. Some Buccaneer news as well, and we may even talk a little bit of NBA since the Thunder have now won the championship and appear to be maybe a dynasty in the making. Good morning to you, Nick. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Yeah, we were crowning champions left and right yesterday. An NBA champion gets crowned, a Travelers champion gets crowned in heartbreaking fashion for one particular golfer, and even some drama in the College World Series yesterday in the first inning, which was really just wild. Yesterday.
I missed that. I was out playing golf yesterday, getting out of River
you
Hills.
missed that, huh? The drama of the first inning.
I missed the drama of the first inning.
Oh my goodness!
I saw LSU won their 8th national championship.
They did after the Coastal head coach and the first base coach, I believe, or assistant coach, were both ejected in the first inning of the game.
Coastal went postal?
The umpires went on a power trip in the first inning and decided to do what they do,
How do you kick out a coach in the first inning of a national championship game?
I don't know. And the coach, you can read his lips. He doesn't look like he said like a curse word or anything. So it was bizarre.
All right. Well, we'll get into that a little bit later on. We got to get into a lot of the sales stuff that's going on. Talk to some folks very much with knowledge of the letter of intent and what's going on with the sale to Patrick Zalewski and this group of Tampa Bay investors. We had Ken Hagan on the show on Friday. There have been a couple pieces in the Times, WFLA, about possible suitors. So I want to get into that a little bit. The Rays on the field yesterday, as good as they've been playing, obviously 4-3 against 2 very good teams this week. It almost feels like it should be better. And it's just some very curious decisions by Kevin Cash that are just head-scratching at times. And, the Christopher Morel batting for Jonathan Aranda in a 4-1 game the other night. With first and third, 1 out. You need every run to bring up a guy that's hitting 186 against lefties and take out a guy that's hitting 286 against lefties and crushing everything. To put in a guy who is, by percentage-wise, the biggest strikeout victim in Major League Baseball, compared to a guy that puts the bat on the ball almost every single time in that situation. And of course, Morel struck out on 3 pitches, and the Rays go on to lose 4-1. Just like head-scratching. And then Littell yesterday, Zach Littell, is cruising through 5 innings, 69 pitches, 53 for strikes, and he given up 1 run. And obviously, as Cash said, the off day on Monday, the bullpen is rested. Go to your guys. Not as horrible a decision as the Morel one, quite frankly. But still, it's like, what are we doing? And then Clevenger hasn't pitched 2 complete innings in 83 appearances. And rarely goes 2 complete innings. Gets the first inning done in the 6th, but Cash sends him out for the 7th, and he gives up an 0-2 2-run homer, and the floodgates open up. So curious decision to say the least. And it's odd and listen, Kevin Cash is still, in my book, the best manager in baseball. He does more with less than anybody ever has, maybe in this game. But lately, it just seems like, what are we doing in key situations? Your thoughts?
Yeah, pinch hitting Jonathan Aranda for Christopher Morel is never, in my opinion, any sort of move you go to. I don't care who's on the mound. I'll give Morel credit. He hit one of the furthest balls. And he probably hit the furthest ball we've seen in the Steinbrenner era the day after. So I guess he made up for it a little bit there. But, I mean, we know what Christopher Morel is, right? So that was a little bizarre. yesterday, taking out Zach Littell at 69 pitches. I mean, we've seen Cash do this before. This is nothing new. It was a 1-1 game, and I thought it was just bizarre because I think they've let Littell go long in games all year long where maybe he did not have his best stuff and he was sort of grinding through outings. I thought Zach Littell's stuff yesterday was maybe the best it's been all year.
Fantastic.
I think maybe they got worried because there were two lefties, including Kerry Carpenter. I think Riley Green was coming up right after.
Yep.
And, two best guys in that lineup, both power hitters, were coming up in a 1-1 game. And Zach Littell leads Major League Baseball in home runs given up this year. So I have to think maybe that was part of the decision to pull Littell there. And listen, Garrett Clevenger has been
really good.
Maybe your most consistent reliever throughout the year. I'm fine going to him in that moment. Bringing him out for a second inning is where I draw the line.
Yeah, especially, when you're saying the bullpen is rested, you got Monday off. Well, okay, let's get the A guys in there, 1 inning apiece. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed a little bit odd.
It was a little curious, but I guess like when you said like it should be better, I'm like, I don't know how much better we could really ask for right now. I mean, they've been
in the past homestand.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's some close games like you mentioned, like the 2 against Baltimore and obviously the one they dropped to Detroit. But I mean, the Rays have the best record. I think they have the most wins of any team against teams north of 500 with a record.
Yeah, I'm greedy.
Can't get greedy right now. Can't get greedy right now. They're only 2.5 behind the Yankees. They're right there. I mean, what else could we ask for at this point in the season?
More. I want more. No, listen, they played great baseball. They played fantastic baseball, but we can criticize individual decisions here and there. And, Kevin Cash certainly knows what baseball is all about, and that's it. And you make your decisions, and he's the best manager in baseball, and most times he gets it right. But when he doesn't, or just for fodder anyway, we got to talk about these things, right? So we do. Listen, yeah, they're playing great baseball, and it's fun to watch now that they're hitting the Caminero with another home run this weekend. Cool. It's got 19. It's a really, really fun team to watch. If we could just get rid of Christopher Morel, please, and bring Chandler Simpson back.
I was going to say Chandler Simpson. I had the numbers this morning for you. He's hitting 366 with a 416 on base, 11 stolen bases, and 6 walks in 16 games since he's been down in AAA. So I don't think it's going to be Morel, though. It looks like it's probably going to be – I think it's got to be Meisner at this point because, I mean, you're just waiting for his bat to come alive, and it's just not happening. I think Meisner, but that's the one.
Either one, for God's sakes. For either one, for God's sakes. I mean, let's make the move.
Yeah.
Like,
and
what are we waiting for?
I thought we were like – yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, Ha-Sung Kim gets hit in the elbow yesterday in the AAA game, and he was in like a lot of pain, and I was like, oh my goodness, you're kidding me, right? Like, no way. But apparently he stayed in the game, and I guess he's fine, so we dodged a bullet there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, the Rays, how they get even better, and I'm adding Ha-Sung Kim right into wherever in that order, and throwing Chandler Simpson in for Cameron Meisner, and I think you have a even more well-rounded group.
Absolutely, 100%. You really want to get rid of Taylor Walls at this point?
Man, Taylor's playing well.
You send Curtis Mead out.
No, you can't send Curtis Mead out. You can't send Curtis Mead out. We've been waiting forever for Curtis Mead to find his bat, and he's found it finally. Like,
well, then who's going out?
Really good lately.
What infielder are you sending out? Not Caballero.
The problem with I mean, you're probably gonna have to. I guess you're probably gonna have to move Walls. I mean,
no, we got Walls over Mead. Over Mead.
I like Mead. At the moment, Mead is like you've been waiting for that at bat for that.
You got to make a choice. You don't have a 27-man roster, bro. You got to make a choice. Come on now, make a choice.
Man. I can't send down Mead right now. I think he needs some more consistent at bats at the major league level. Taylor Walls, even though in spite of his,
I would agree with that, but you got to send somebody down for
in spite of Taylor Walls' hot streak, he is Taylor Walls. We know what he is.
Right. Well, you got to make a choice. You can't be sitting on the fence, so you got to make a choice. All right. So anyway, we'll table the baseball on the field conversation because it's all good. The Rays are playing good baseball. So now we go to the off the field stuff. So over the weekend, I was speaking with someone who very much in the know on the Rays sale, and as you've seen in the past, since it's of course this is the only way you're going to do it with the Rays. Since Patrick Zalewski, the group has surfaced last week in the Sportico comments, and by the way, Kurt Badenhausen, who wrote that story, is going to be on with us tomorrow, so at 10:30. So join us for that. So when that surfaced, of course, most markets would be, oh, finally, we're getting rid of this terrible owner, blah, blah, blah. But no, not Tampa Bay. No, not Tampa Bay. Instead, it's like, who's the next guy? Who's the next guy that can buy the team? Is there anybody else? Oh, it's a hedge fund guy named Tim Miller, who, by the way, has been involved in this process before and has been involved in this process for quite some time. There is a reason that Major League Baseball did not choose him to buy this team. There is a reason that Major League Baseball has chosen the Zalewski group and has been working with them 4 months. And there's a reason why Ken Hagan came on the show on Friday and said he is extremely confident that this group, Zalewski, in conjunction with all the elite Tampa Bay investors that I've been telling you about for months, this is the group that Major League Baseball favors. This is the group that they want to buy the team. And as we've told you many times, and as history tells us, the teams that get the sale, the groups that get the sale, are not the groups that are banging the pots and making all the noise and going to the newspapers and doing stories and telling the newspapers how much they want to buy the team, while the newspapers ignore the actual team that has the group that has a letter of intent. Like, I don't understand this process, but only in this market. So we write these stories. Oh, so how long is the letter of intent? How long does it expire soon? What makes the Miller guy better than the Zalewski guy? And I'm not here to say that, to compare the two guys. I don't know them. I know more about Zalewski than I do about Miller. But I know this. This is the group that Major League Baseball has backed for months. This is the group that has been working behind the scenes to get their ducks in a row so when they can purchase the team, they have a stadium plan ready to go. This is not, didn't just show up last week like many of you think. And this is not a car auction like many of you think, that someone just comes in and throws money and it goes to the highest bidder. That's not the way this works. These ownership groups have to be thoroughly vetted by Major League Baseball, which this group with the letter of intent led by Zalewski and these elite Tampa Bay investors has been vetted. Major League Baseball knows who they are. Ken Hagan knows who they are. Chris Lotvola knows who they are, and knows that this is the group that Major League Baseball wants to purchase the team. Now, does that mean it 100% will go through? No, it doesn't. But it means that's the group they want, and that's the group that Major League Baseball believes, that the group believes, that Ken Hagan believes, that Chris Lotvola believes, that I believe can get the job done with the stadium in Tampa. So, and here's a couple of quotes I got from this person very much in the know as far as the sale goes. And it was Stu Sternberg's desire, as I've told you for a long time, to take this out as long as he could and wait for more people just to throw money at him. Remember when he said, after poor Stu got, the deal didn't go through, that he reneged on. I mean, let's just be honest. He said I'm just going to get up and dust myself off and go at it again. We've got another 4 years to figure it out. And no, you don't. Time's up. And that's what Major League Baseball has told him. The quote is this: "It's all a laugh. MLB has told Stu what he's getting and no more negotiating with the city." Remember when Stu wanted to go back and see if they could get another deal with the city? MLB said, no, your time's up. And the secondary quote says, "Stu thinks the longer he pushes, someone else will give him more money. MLB has told him time's up." So time's up. That's why we have the letter of intent now. Now, again, will it go through? I think it will. If it were left up just to Stu, of course, as we've said, this would take forever. But finally, Major League Baseball is driving this. They want to get the deal done. They want to get the stadium plan announced, and they want to move on. So, again, what do I think is going to happen at this point? And I'm still not sure about Tropicana Field, but it looks increasingly likely that that's where they're going to go back and play. So for you, Nick, you can have your nostalgic moments for the next 3 years.
I'm good. Let me tell you, I've been past that stage.
You've moved on?
I've moved on, but I've accepted that it's going to happen though. But
yeah, so they'll go back and play for 3 more years in Tropicana Field while this new stadium is done in Tampa, and this group will own the team. They'll get the job done, and we can move into a stadium, say 2029 season. That sound good? God, it seems like forever, but yeah, 2029. So again, could this deal fall apart? Sure. Could it? Could somebody? But if it does, then the good news is there are many investors in line to get to go through this and get the job done. Plenty of people that want to throw money at Stu Sternberg. What Major League Baseball is trying to do is get the deal done, get it moving forward, get the stadium announced so they can move on with expansion. Make sense?
Yeah, I think what happened here is Stu Sternberg simply ran out of time. We always talk about things get done when you get to the deadline, and we were talking about this deadline back in 2018, or even before that, right? And we always knew the lease is up at the end of 2020. Was it 2027 at the time?
2027, yes. Yeah.
2027. And you always knew, like, probably at least 3 years out, that was the deadline. And here he was presented with the deal of a lifetime for him over in St. Pete on the exact site that we thought would not work. But you know what? It was what it was, right? And he decided to torpedo his own deal and blame everyone else. And at that point, that is where all the other owners sort of, I think, came to the realization, and they probably did long before that, but this was the final straw where they were like, well, there's nothing else. This guy he's burned the bridge on both sides of the bay. No politician wants to work with him. And I think because of that, he simply has run out of time. And the fact that Major League Baseball is so adamant that they want baseball to remain in Tampa Bay, and that is helping this tremendously by having Rob Manfred be a supporter of this. There's no other solution here but for him to sell. He's pressured to have to do it. I don't think Stu Sternberg wants to sell this baseball team. I don't think he does one bit, but I think it's gotten to the point where he's being basically forced to do it because what other hand can he play? He's maxed out. He's maxed out everything. And I think for all the Rays fans who might have been supportive of him to an extent, maybe because they looked past all the other stuff and said, well, look at all the on-field success for 15 years that, he really didn't have that much to do with. I think after all this that's happened, he's got no supporters left. I think it's a toxic situation for him, and it's best to just get out of the way. Just get out of the way and let us get new ownership. You've been covering the teams in this market longer than I've been alive, obviously. And I think you could probably say that when the Glazers came into Tampa Bay, that was a much-needed injection of something positive to the Buccaneers, and we were off and running from there.
Not without controversy, though, with the stadium.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure there's always, speed bumps and stuff like that. But in general, that worked out pretty well for the Bucs, I would argue. The Lightning got a lifeline when Jeff Vinik decided to buy this team after, 5 or 6 years of disastrous ownership up until then. Yep. I mean, a change in ownership can really ignite, a franchise. And we've seen that in this area before, and the Rays are long overdue for it.
Yeah. Yeah. We've always said that the 3 most important things in sports are ownership, ownership, and ownership. It's just like real estate. And the change in ownership is needed. And we've said this before. It bears repeating. Sometimes I have to vomit in my mouth saying it, but we got to give Stu credit for making this team into a winner and coming up with very innovative thinking.
I give him credit for putting the right people in place.
Yes, absolutely.
To run a ship the way that he sort of like gave them, doing the best you can. But I mean, I feel like to an extent he's held them back at times too.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. So you give him credit for coming up with the innovative strategies to, make money and be competitive. That line, we want to play meaningful games in September. I've never heard anybody any owner ever say that. It's always, I want to win a World Series. But Stu, I think maybe he let that slip. And it's like, yeah, we just want to make money, do this on a small payroll, use that window of productivity for young players during arbitration that they can be some of the best players in the game. Trade away and when they get to be high priced stars, you trade them away and just do it all over again.
I tell you what,
it's a great formula for winning games and making a shit ton of money.
I was going to say though,
what he's done.
I was going to say though, if you look at the current team and sort of the model they followed there, I mean, the Glasnow trade. I mean, if you offered that back to the Dodgers, they would love to get Ryan Pepio back. I mean, Ryan Pepio is turning into an ace before our eyes right now, to be honest with you. And Glasnow can't even stay healthy, which was the reason why he's not here anymore, right? Along with the money that he was being paid.
The money is the reason.
Yeah. I mean, they traded Jeffrey Springs after they paid him. Well, I haven't seen him but one game in the majors, but his name's Joe Boyle, and he looks pretty good to me. So I like where that stands at the moment. The Randy trade, I mean, Randy hasn't lit it up at all in Seattle, to be honest with you. I almost forget sometimes that Randy is still doing his thing, no disrespect. So, like, the model has worked, at times. The big miss was the Blake Snell, obviously. That was the big miss. But, yeah, it is kind of interesting how the way that they've sort of operated. Yeah, Longoria. But the way they've operated, I mean, that's always going to happen. You're going to have your hits and you're going to have your misses. Exactly. But it is fascinating to look at sort of that approach over the years.
Yeah, and that's Stu. That's not Stu making those trades. That's Andrew Friedman and Eric Neander, and they've done a fantastic job. So we give him credit for that, but also, holding us back in terms of payroll when moves could have been made to add payroll and maybe get a World Series championship. And hopefully, this new group can do that, and they can leverage this market for what it really should be. There should never be a market where other owners are writing us revenue sharing checks. That should, Pittsburgh, I get it. Milwaukee, I get it. But not Tampa Bay, not the 11th largest market with the 15th largest market down the road in Orlando. That's why Major League Baseball covets this market so much. And they know that just a change in ownership with someone with deeper pockets and, frankly, the ability to negotiate and do deals. Stuart Sternberg is a horrible negotiator. Everybody I've ever dealt with that has dealt with him says the same thing. You can't trust the thing that comes out of their mouth. They move the goalpost every 5 minutes. You can't get deals done with people like that. And Major League Baseball finally came to that conclusion. And that's why this group has been vetted. They love this group because of their local ties. They love this group because of their deep pockets. And they love this group because of their political connections with Ron DeSantis and Zalewski being best buddies.
And listen, Stu Sternberg is still going to win big here because
God,
he bought this team for $200 million, I believe, in 2000.
$50 million. No, so somebody asked me about this on Twitter, and I just wanted to relay the
specifics. Yeah.
So he bought it for $200 million, of which $50 million reportedly was his portion. Okay. And throughout the years, and this is what the lawsuit was all about, his partners, he forced them out at times with strong arm tactics, according to the lawsuit, and got hold of those shares for pennies on the dollar, according to the lawsuit. Okay. Now, this is the same lawsuit that he had to settle out of court for a humongous amount, I've been told. Of course, it's all NDA. You're not allowed to. Even though some people think they know what the numbers are, and the numbers that are put out there, I've seen publicly, I don't think are even close to what the settlement was. I heard it was mid 9 figures. I don't know if that's true, but it came from a good source. But that would make sense actually for the portion that these partners had or should have had. So he got control of all the shares as far as I know, and according to the lawsuit. So he's going to walk with, not to mention the hundreds of millions of dollars that he already took out of this team, the $500 million that he put into another company that came from the upfront regional baseball deal that he did with Fox 7 years ago. This is all in the lawsuit, by the way. So this is a sworn testimony by his partners. So he's going to walk with $1.7 billion on a team that's probably worth 1.3, 1.4.
I was going to say that was my general point. I think he's going to get even more than that because I know that they're in exclusive, I guess, negotiations with this. So I guess the way I interpret that is the other, even though the Miller Group is there and they've made an offer, I guess the Rays are not entertaining that right now. It sounds like that's just an offer. They can't because they're an exclusive.
It's noise. Yeah.
Yeah. But theoretically, if Stu wanted to, and I certainly believe he will because he's a businessman, he's going to. I think it was written in the Athletic article too. I think Miller even said that he probably sees this to where they probably pit them against each other and bid it or whatever. So my point is, he's going to make close to $2 billion off the sale.
What I'm trying to tell you, Nick, is MLB has already. This is Miller talking to the Times. This is Miller talking to the Athletic. Yeah, I read the Athletic piece as well. This is him going out and talking to these guys to try and get some attention from Major League Baseball because he's already been rejected by Major League Baseball. He was part of the Doyle group, according to the Athletic report, that got rebuffed last year for $1.8 billion by Stu. So Major League Baseball knows who he is, but why didn't they pick him to be the lead investor here? Because they want this other group. So, and Miller said he would put up 1.5 or would offer more if he had to. So what happens here is it's just an ongoing, Stu can do this forever. And Major League Baseball is like, no, you're done. You're going to take your huge profit so we can move on as a group to expansion. So we can get a stadium deal done in Tampa. The time is right. These folks are interested. They have the money. Let's get the deal done now. We're not putting it up for bids. It's not a car auction. That's not how this works, young man. I don't
know why you're telling me. I agree with you.
Because you just said, if this one doesn't work out, you're just like the Times. You're just like all these other people that are like, this guy's got more money. He says he's got, does he? Does he have more money? I don't know.
I was reading you an excerpt from an article written by The Athletic.
I'm just taking out my frustrations on you.
This is not my opinion. I would prefer that he would just take the deal that he is in exclusive negotiating with and be done with it.
Yes,
but I'm just saying we can never look past Stu Sternberg to do something.
Well, that's the point. He's not. Here's I'll read these quotes again to you. It's all a laugh. MLB told Stu what he's getting and no more negotiations with the city. He continued. Stu thinks the longer he pushes, someone else will give him more money. MLB has told him time is up. So, yeah, you're right. Somebody will always come with more money, but then MLB has to vet them. Can they get the stadium done? Do they have the political connections? Are they part of do they have people here in Tampa Bay that have maybe real estate holdings and other things in this group that will help get the stadium deal done? No. This group does. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's like we're not, at this point, we're not talking about the other group. So unless something with this group collapses, which I don't anticipate it doing, then this is the group. And let's celebrate this group. Let's not keep looking for the shiny coin that's, clanging pots and banging gongs. This is the group. Okay? And also, now we got to get it done now. We're not going to have Stu string this out forever so he can get, $50,000 more from the next guy, and then we got to go vet them too. So Major League Baseball is highly desirous to get this deal done now with this group. It's more than enough money. It's $300 million more at least than it's worth. And this is the group they want to get it done. So let's get it done. RJ Martin says, if you want to put these up, I can't do it on my phone here. Good morning. Can't wait for the boat parade when we get rid of Stu. I think it's worthy of a boat parade. I do. Let's see what else we got. I don't know what that means. I think that's teams. Yeah. Kenneth McCleary says, Apparently, the Tampa Bay Rays are wrecking teams that have the best record in baseball. See, I didn't want to put that up, kid, because, today's closing arguments for Wander Franco. You're a little.
Apparently he showed up late to his today. They were waiting for him to show up. Yeah, he came late.
Always a good look.
Yeah.
Well, he was busy. Douglas says, was at Rays game yesterday. Happy to see the Rays win series, but baffled with some of Cash's decisions, especially bringing in Whitley, ERA 10 plus in the ninth with Uceda and Fairbanks available and the rest day. Yeah, what about that one?
I mean, Whitley's been really good since they got him. The problem is they're having him throw this cutter, and that's the only pitch he can throw. And so it's about when you're throwing one pitch effectively, eventually you're gonna get bitten. And then Montgomery too, his velocity was down by 3 miles per hour or something yesterday.
What's up with that?
I think he's pitched more than any reliever on the Rays this year, so maybe he's getting fatigued right now. So trade deadline, they're going to have to add a reliever for sure. They got to go get a reliever.
Danny Sledge says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but keep Taylor Walls.
It's amazing how we got to that point, huh?
Yes.
I don't know. I went back and looked. Curtis Mead's hitting 321 over his last 22 games.
I know. But
he's a right-handed bat. He's a right-handed bat.
I think Walls is hitting 360. By the way, I don't know. Does Walls or Mead have any options left?
I think so. Yeah,
because that could definitely determine what happens.
Also, who gives you more positional flexibility as well?
Probably Mead. Well, I don't know.
It's tough because I know Taylor Walls knows that Ha-Seong Kim is coming, and he's clearly that's a little fire under his ass. And I mean, he's showing why he deserves to stay on the roster. But I mean, someone's got to go. It just can't have 27 in the clubhouse. That's how it works.
Yeah, if I have to pick right now, I'd say I because I know what Taylor Walls defensively is. And here's the other thing, Ha-Seong Kim. Even though we're waiting for him, can we really count on him? And you don't want to make Curtis Mead your everyday shortstop, do you?
No, and I don't know if they view Cabby as they've started to move Cabby into the outfield. They've had him at third. He hasn't really been at short as much. So that's what I'm saying. That's the argument for keeping Walls is you have two true shortstops on the roster if you don't view Cabby as, an option to play that position.
Well, Cabby can play anywhere.
Yeah, I know he can play anywhere.
Who's your backup third baseman?
I mean, you could throw Cabby there whenever, really.
Right. Joe Dabrowski says the mainstream media, radio, and print are trying to hijack this process, perhaps deliberately through Stu personally. Listen, I'm not going to say no to that, Joe. I think you're spot on. The people that are pushing these narratives are the same people that have always pushed Stu Sternberg's narratives. Let's just be honest. And does Stu want to sell this team right now? To your point, Nick, no, he doesn't. He wants to take this process out forever. But Major League Baseball is telling him to. So what do? We tell, hey, go do a story on this Miller guy. He wants to buy the team for more. Go do a story on this other group. I've had 3 different groups call me to do stories, to get their word out again.
Haven't we had we're up to 8 groups or something crazy?
I mean, everybody, and why is this? Because Stu Sternberg's telling them, hey, get your name out there. Muddy up the waters, in my opinion. Muddy up the waters. Let's get your name out there. Let's get more money. I don't want to be forced into this sale. I think I can make 3 pennies more if I wait 2 months. Enough.
Yeah.
Enough.
And let me also add to what I said earlier. I said, there's history in this market, when you get a new ownership change of how it can inject something into your franchise. I should have mentioned even actually Stu coming aboard, regardless of how rocky this part of it was. I mean, MLB forced Vince Naimoli out. And so, I mean, you have to give Stu did have a good impact on the Rays in some aspects. So I should have added him in there for full transparency.
No, we've given him credit for those things as much as, I hate to. You got to be fair, and we're fair. I don't care what you say. We're fair. Yes, other radio stations, and Joe says this is being sabotaged by the Times and a certain radio station. Yeah, absolutely, because they do his bidding. Yeah. Oh, there's other people out there. Like Topkin had a line in his story last week I thought was interesting. He said in the Zoom call to the employees, and I've heard the same, by the way, that Sturberg was very somber and very frustrated to inform them that he was selling the team. He doesn't want to Nick's point. He doesn't want us. He wants to drag this out forever to get a few more. And who does that harm? Us, Rays fans, the city of St. Petersburg, the city of Tampa, Major League Baseball wants to expand. He doesn't care about anybody but himself, and this is true history. And that's how he's run this team. It's all about him and how much money he can make. If he was being, like some people portray in this market, which is a joke, some altruistic owner that, he's decided to do the right thing. No, he's got no options. If it were up to him, he'd hold on to get as much as he possibly could. He's got no options, and he's being forced to sell the team. Yes, and good for us and good for everybody else. Thank God Major League Baseball has finally stepped up and done this. People are kind of hit me up as they like, wow, Stu's really going to make out on this deal. Doesn't that piss you off? And I'm like, no, it doesn't piss me off. I just like him to go so we can move on here. That's all. Good for him. He's a good businessman. He's made gazillions of dollars, and tried to F with people who don't make a lot of money and screw people over like me. This is what elite businessmen, rich people do. They don't care. It's all about the money. And that's the way he's always run this team. And I would like someone else to run this team who's not all about the money, about making money, but is about winning, putting together a winning organization that wins World Series. And for so long, it just mystifies me how this fan base has been brainwashed into, that's too much money for a player. It's not your money. It's not your money. There's no salary cap. If there was a salary cap, I'd say, okay, yeah, that's too much for that money. There is no salary cap in baseball. So, yeah, go out and spend some money on players. You're going to overpay for free agents that are experienced sluggers that actually perform in the postseason offensively and pitching-wise. But we figured out the pitching part. Now we just got to go get some proven sluggers that cost money. And we can do that at the deadline. And maybe this new group, the sale goes through, they can make some of these decisions. Wouldn't that be nice?
They're slugging right now.
They are slugging right now. They don't really need one, but they will need one.
I'm still adding another big bat in the middle of the order. Hopefully, get rid of Meisner and Morel, and bring up Chandler Simpson and make room for one big right-handed slugger. Hell, how much better can this team be? Yeah, it can be better. And it needs to be better, frankly. It needs to be better. It's good. They have the best record in baseball since May 20th, but previous to that, not so good. Yeah, and also pay attention to the standings right now. I mean, first of all, you have four teams in the AL East with 40 wins. I mean, this is every year. 4 teams in the AL East have.
We got a lot more division games coming up.
No other division, the AL Central and the AL West, they only have the one team with 40 wins, and it's the division leaders, and we got 4. So it is like so many teams that are right behind the Rays when it comes to that wild card push. So I don't care. The Nelson Cruz trade didn't work out 4 years ago, and I feel like they've gotten gun shy because of that over the years.
You know why that didn't work out, by the way?
What?
He's told everybody now. The trop. He couldn't hit in the trop.
Well, he had the Willie. He had the Willie syndrome. Apparently, he had the Willie syndrome. But he was also just cooked at that time because he was.
I don't know. That dude could hit underwater.
He couldn't hit after that. He came to Tampa, he couldn't hit at all, and then the year after that, he couldn't hit either. He was just cooked. Yeah. But I wouldn't let that deter them from trying it again this year. I mean,
absolutely
like you're overachieving right now compared to what you were. Like, and I feel like if you have the window and you have the opportunity to do it, I mean, go for it.
Absolutely, Jeremy. Put up James and Jeremy's comments there if you would at the end there. Yeah, WDA and TBT are cowards. Simple as that, says James. They have always been the ones who say we're a small market team. Yeah, factually, that's completely untrue. Don't read the Times anymore, nor do I listen at all to WDA, a joke radio network. Yeah, kind of agree there. And Paredes, and Jeremy says Paredes was that guy we are missing.
Well, here's the thing.
You can't have Paredes and Caminero.
I was going to point it out because of the fact Jonathan Aranda has been Jonathan Aranda this year. At the end of the day, you would have had 4 players vying for the same position, and it wasn't going to work. So as much as I hate the return for Paredes, looking back at it right now, I mean, what are you doing there with Paredes, Caminero, Yandy, and Aranda? Yeah,
it's a lot to figure out. Yeah.
I just hate the return at the end of the day.
No, but here's the thing: he wouldn't have had shackles on him, talking about Neander, and could add significant payroll. He had to find a guy under control like Morel, who's a power hitting outfielder. You know, people aren't going to part with those very, very easily, and especially how many are there that you want that you don't add that aren't going to add payroll to your team. Again, hard to make a trade when you've only got, a small universe to work with.
Yeah, we'll see. Morel's been a little bit better lately. The standards. He's been a little bit better lately statistically.
I just like putting him up in an RBI situation like that to kind of hopefully get his numbers up.
No, I wouldn't take Jonathan Aranda out of the game against anybody. No. I wouldn't mess with the top 4 in that lineup of Yandy, Aranda, Brandon Lau, and Caminero. Like I'm not messing with that. Like those 4 right now are on a different planet.
I was talking to a buddy of mine who played in the big leagues for a while, and I said, what if he said, don't use my name. I said, what if your skipper came to you in that situation? You're the cleanup hitter. It's first and third, 1 out. And he says, hey, I'm putting in Morel for you. He'd say, I would be in jail right now because I would have hit him in the head with my bat.
But Cash, but again, he made the right call, though, I think the night before when they had the big comeback. And Curtis Mead had not played in like 9 days or something like that, or had an at bat at 7 or 9, something like that. And he comes up and goes 2 for 2. And then it's 8-6, and he gets sat down, even though he's 2 for 2 for Brandon Lau. And Brandon Lau hits the 2-run home run to tie it. So, he pushed the right button there.
Oh, he pushed all the right buttons in that comeback. That's why he's the best manager in baseball. Yeah. But when he screws up, we got to put – and that's the other thing. I just can't – in my heart, that Morel decision was not a baseball decision in terms of that moment to win the game. That was, we're trying to trade this guy. We got to put him up in some key situations, see if he can deliver and get something out of that deal. That makes a lot more sense. You can't, unless there's something we don't know, like Aranda was hurt or didn't like Soto or doesn't like, whatever it was, I
think they just genuinely think that when Morel's up there and maybe in that capacity, they just think that at any moment he's a threat to hit a home run.
Well, if you swing that hard, eventually you're going to hit one a long way.
Like he did on Saturday.
Eventually. But,
that was a bomb. That was
a bomb, but
that thing went over the trees.
But that's my problem with Morel. He swings that hard on every swing. 2 outs, 2 strikes. It doesn't maes the dude he's just going to swing as hard as
Junior's doing it too. Junior's doing it too, but the difference is he's really gifted at what he's really gifted at the plate, so it works out.
He's balanced and his head is on the ball when he does it. Instead of Morel's he's like flailing away, and you're going to run into one every now and then, for God's sakes. All right, we got to take a break. We are brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES. Lawgroup.com. They are local. They are trusted. Get results. If you get involved in an accident, they are your first call. They take care of everything. Get your free consultation from the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Lawgroup.com. And by onsiteconstructionfl.com. Onsite Construction is your contractor, and if something were to happen in a hurricane again, you want to make sure that you've already vetted your contractor, you know who they are, and you're on the list of preferred clients. That's what you do. Get that free consultation with Jason Fawcett, the owner, at onsiteconstructionfl.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Riveters. You heard our good friend Ken Hagan give Riveters a rounding endorsement the other day. He goes there every time he goes to a Rays game, and you should too. So before or after the games, just a mile south of the Stein and Ray J, it's Riveters right there just north of 275. Great place, fresh food. The staff is amazing. The drinks are fantastic. Best happy hour in town, 3 to 7 o'clock. $3 domestic drafts, $5 wells. Try to find that anywhere else. And the food is absolutely fantastic. Try the prime rib sandwich. It is to die for. And the wings. Oh, so good. Anyway, head on over to Riveters, the official sports bar of the JP Peterson show.
And go there and watch the Alabama-Florida State game coming up. And the only reason why I bring that up now in June is because I was in the break, JP, and I just came across a wild quote from one Tommy Castellanos. This is crazy. He told On3's Pete Nakos about talking about, he said he's always dreamed of playing against Alabama, and he said, they don't have Nick Saban to save them. I don't see them stopping me. He
did not say that.
He did, and we have put out On3. We have put out a big graphic of it and everything. And I read it, and I'm like, whoa.
What are you doing?
Tommy.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of confidence, but boy.
I don't even know what to say to that. That is just I think Tommy Castellanos can have a big year, but it's going to be tough to have a big year with a broken leg after the Alabama game. I mean, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Like, that makes, like, Mike Norvell, have you not listen, I'm all for players talking to the media and having unfettered access and all that stuff. But this is not some freshman coming in here. This dude has played 4 years of college football? 3 years?
Yeah.
And you don't know better than to stir up a hornet's nest? And it's not, at least they don't have all off season to put that quote up in the freaking weight room so the summer workouts don't miss a beat at Alabama. My God, that's the dumbest shit ever. This is my starting quarterback showing me how mature and intelligent he is.
Yeah, it's like the kind of stuff that why so many college football fans just point their arrows at Florida State and don't take them serious. And then he goes and says something like that. He continues and says I'm trying.
Oh God, there's more.
I mean, he has a quote in there where he's talking about how he's here to win games and save jobs. So I feel like that's one thing to say, but to directly just talk about Alabama and Nick Saban's not here to save them. Bro, I mean, this is still a quarterback who got benched last year at Boston College. Let's be real. I don't know. That's really throwing it out there.
That is you ruined my day with that. You ruined my day with that.
I thought about it in my head. I'm like, should I wait to the end of the show?
No, you got it.
Or I just happened to see it in the break, and I was like, this is too good not to bring up coming back.
My God. I can't imagine. Who did he say this to, and what?
He told this to On3's Pete Nakos, who put up a story on on3.com.
In an on the record interview for On3 Sports, not in the weight room talking to his offensive line buddies, not out on the field doing sprints, getting yourself. But I'm gonna get one of the most prominent reporters in college and put this on the record. That just shows just a huge lack of maturity. And just the beat just keeps going for FSU, doesn't it? No,
I was actually before that quote, and I shouldn't say this quote has changed my entire feeling of this year's team, but I was actually semi-optimistic about Florida State football this year.
So was I.
Comparing this roster to last year's roster, but I mean, let's just pump the brakes. Let's see what happens when Florida State has to be on the same field of Alabama at once. Let's see what it looks like first.
We got a couple comments coming in on this as well. James says, I believe you got to put it up here. Sorry.
I got it up there.
I believe Castellanos will have a really good year. My concern is we have a head coach that can't recruit a freaking quarterback. Yep.
Well, he just one 2 days ago.
What's that?
He just landed one 2 days ago, actually. A blue chip quarterback recruit who had decommitted from Oklahoma.
Well, the problem is I don't trust any of his quarterback recruits.
Yeah, me neither, because none of them have panned out.
None of them have panned out. I mean, he clearly does not know how to evaluate the position.
Yeah, and James adds they have a serious head coach problem. I mean, what's the magic number for you? I know this wasn't really on our topic sheet today, but while we're on it, what's the magic number for you that Norvell has to win to avoid it?
I don't like doing magic numbers. I just everything in context. If Castellano goes down early and they got to play a young kid, and by the way, this Kevin Sperry kid from Tim's neck of the woods in Dallas has wowed a lot of people. I think he's going to be really, really good, but we'll see. He's a freshman, I guess, incoming freshman quarterback. It just, to me, you got to be. I think if you're less than 500, then
you have to pull the trigger. I'm sorry.
I
know it's going to cost a lot of money to do it, but this is Florida State.
If 5 wins or less, that's a fireable offense after last year. You might get an extra year, but 2-10 takes a year off your life. But 13-0 may have given you an extra year. 2-10 takes a year off your life. So, I think 5 or less. And maybe there's some context in there that they're in every game and blah 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 blah. But I would say 5 or less. Yeah, you got to.
They're going to be, at the very least, they're going to be exciting running the football because that's what Tommy specializes at, and that's if Gus is calling plays. I don't even know if Florida State's going to throw the football 15 times a game. Like seriously, like they might just be like running it like 50 times every game.
Well, God, I hope not, because you can't. It's hard to keep receivers around if that's what you're doing, or recruit receivers, because Gus Malzahn's offense will.
Do you want me to point you to the UCF? Issues. You want me to point? You want me to point to that one? There you go.
Yeah. I think it's going to be better than the Norvell offense, but is it sustainable?
The floor is very low there. What 132nd in college football or whatever it was last year?
Well, at Florida State. Good God, can you imagine? Yeah. Oh, terrible. Well, thank you for that little tidbit. But that'll certainly
we need to move on from that quickly.
Good God. Well, I was going to say, because I mentioned Ken Hagan, because in the piece that Mark Topkin wrote, and he actually quoted my podcast, which floored me, that it would show up in the Times, but said, Ken Hagan, who talks a lot. And I hear people all the time give shit to Ken Hagan. Who else has stepped up better than him and taken all the slings and arrows to keep the Rays in Tampa Bay? If this deal goes through, and I think it will, all you Ken Hagan haters out there need to kiss his ass. Because I don't know anyone who's put more of their political ass on the line and taken more crap for wanting to keep the Rays in Tampa, in the place where they obviously would work the best in terms of revenue and access for the entire market. Oh, what an asshole. Ken Hagan, what a jerk. He talks a lot. Like it's a bad thing? How about all the politicians that just sat on their hands forever? How about those people? Those are the people I get a problem with. This guy's actually gotten off his ass and done something and tried to save baseball in Tampa Bay. And I think when this goes through, a lot of people need to step up and say they're sorry, especially folks in the media that have ripped Ken Hagan, mostly from the Times. And why? Because they've always wanted the team to stay in St. Pete. Somebody asked me that. Why does the Times want that? I don't, in my opinion, it's because it was called the St. Pete Times. Most of them live and work in that area. And it's a very provincial take. It's a very provincial type of argument. And most of their arguments have always been provincial in that way. Not that they haven't acknowledged that Tampa's probably a better location. They have. But it always seems like these false narratives will favor Stu doing whatever Stu wants to do. And, I think there should have been a little bit more candor and investigation into some of his methods. And I don't know if financially has Stu propped up the Times. I don't know that. Many people say that. I don't know if with the advertising and maybe other money. I know Jeff Vinnick has as well. And the Times used to, and I don't necessarily say that in a bad way. I mean, it's great that they kept. The Times is no matter what you might think of the way they write and what they write. It's a needed resource. There's not a whole lot of other big media out there covering a lot of these teams. So yeah, and I use it all the time. I don't agree with their columnists and what they write a lot of the time, but that's my prerogative. But they do a nice job. They cover all the teams as best they can. I mean, it used to be a lot better, but in this climate, it's difficult. So put up Jeff's comment there. Ken Hagan has the guts that the haters don't have. I agree with you, and I appreciate all the work that he's done on this for sure.
I think Chris Lotvilla as well. I'd throw him in there. I know on the other side of the bay, but he took a lot of arrows early on and
death threats.
Yeah, a lot happened there. But he, you talk about he's been on every show and he's been very transparent on just about every show, every media publication. He's out there, and I enjoy the fact that he's not just like a simp or something for it has to be in St. Pete. He just wants it in Tampa Bay. I think that's the right mindset to have.
Yeah, Joe Dombrowski says the politics are too overt on my liking of the paper, but I digress. I agree. I mean, everybody knows what their nickname has been for years. The Tampa Tribune. I liked it when we had balance. The Tampa Tribune was more conservative, and the Times was more liberal. I would agree with that, Joe. But that's just my personal opinion. Daniel had something to add there. If you might want to put that up there at the bottom. JP, thank you for everything you do. Most trusted voice in Tampa Bay sports. I appreciate that. And I think Lotvilla, if you want to put up Jeff's comment on Lotvilla was the first public official to to say the emperor has no clothes on. He was the first one to stand up to Stu Sternberg. And I give him tremendous credit for that. And I needed a pal to back me up too. But since then, you see where the tide has turned against Stu. For a long time it was just me, in the woods yelling, and a bunch and all the fans as well. I mean, I think it was an overwhelming group of fans that were very anti-Stu. But for most part, the media supported him, celebrated him like he was some Jeff Vinnick owner. And again, I had nothing personal against him. It's just the way he ran the team that pissed me off. And the way he couldn't get a stadium deal done, that pissed me off. And if it left to his own devices, would have moved this team out of the area. 100%. And some of you still want to celebrate that. Tom Krasnicki, you still want to celebrate that like he's making some altruistic choice to sell the team. You're 1,000% wrong as usual on this topic. He's not doing anything altruistically. He's being forced to sell. At an enormous profit too. But Lotvilla was the first one to really say it. And then the mayor jumped in, and then everybody else said, oh, you know what? They're right. But he was the first one to have the guts to go after Stu Sternberg as a public official. And he was 100% on the money. And everybody else followed suit. And now I even see other radio hosts here in the area that are trying to remake their takes from years and years of kissing Stu's ass to act like they were critical of him ever. Please. You can't Jake Tapper this shit. Sorry, pal. Not working.
Well, in more important matters, Lonnie hits the nail on the head. Can we hold a public funeral for the Sunburst logo?
Yes.
And the Stingray reclaims its seat at the head of the table. Please.
I will lobby this new ownership group, as best I can and I think it would be a great symbol of, let's just bury that. Because as good as Stu was in terms of putting people in place to help the team win, the marketing of this team has been god awful. For years, he didn't market the team at all because he didn't care who showed up. It gave him the ability to bitch and moan about the attendance while he was collecting all the revenue sharing money. See, that's why he didn't market the team. Because had he marketed the team and brought in revenue, then he loses the revenue sharing dollars. So he's like, and this is not a terrible business decision, to be quite honest. Why should I spend $50 million on marketing to hopefully get $50 million in tickets back when I could just do nothing and just take my revenue sharing money from these stupid other owners who keep giving it to me? You're screwing your other owners. They didn't realize you weren't marketing the team.
I just think it would be so
from a
great.
Business standpoint, it's not a bad idea.
It would be so great to have a little rebrand because, I mean, that's just what happens when ownership changes.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Glazers came in, Pewter Powers born. When the Lightning, I think with the Davidson group, right? When Davidson sold the team, they changed to those other uniforms, which will remain buried forever because the Lightning were horrible in them. I'm talking the 2007 to 2010 era ones.
Yeah.
They changed it. Then Vinnett came in and gave the more modern look to it, which has had so much success that you probably should never change that look. And even when Sternberg came in, we no longer had to have the Rays in that for what I thought was the god-awful green.
God, that was terrible. Oh, the green jerseys?
The green jerseys with the jerseys were like vest.
Yeah, the vest. The vest. Oh, that was the worst. That was the worst. That was worse than the City Connects.
Yeah, and they brought in the current look, but they brought the Devil Rays back, obviously, where they wear them every Friday. Insanely popular. The merch sells like crazy. I only buy merch that has the Devil Ray logo on it. At this point, like, just go back to that. It's not even nostalgic at this point. Like, it just legitimately looks so much better than what the other stuff they wear in the wimpy Starburst, as I've been calling it for years. Yeah,
I love it. And that would be a great rebrand, with the new ownership group. Get rid of that. Go back to the Rays. Absolutely, 100%. I love it. All right, let's take another break, and then we'll come back and get to more of your comments. I want to get to some Bucs stuff, too. Yahoo Sports put out a top 10 quarterback list. Top 10! And guess who wasn't on it? Wait till you hear the guys that are ahead of Baker Mayfield. Oh, my God! I love lists like this. Tack him up right in his locker. Fantastic. All right, we are brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. It's still June, so that means you can get your moonsite, or amethyst, and pearls as the gemstones of the month, 15% off at Gold and Diamond. And, of course, if you're looking for that ring, there's no better place to go than the Gold and Diamond Source. And, of course, get a real ring. You don't want a fake ring, folks. That's a bad way to start your relationship. She ain't going to dig that. The JP Peterson Show will be back in moments. Thanks to the Golden Dinosaur. Stay with us.
Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or co-pays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. We told you about the amazing Diamond Savings Account where your diamond never loses its value. Well, now, through the end of May, the Gold and Diamond Source will double your trade-in value up to $2,500. Just bring in your jewelry to trade and your $2,500 piece turns into $5,000. It's time to upgrade that ring, earrings, whatever. We have gemologists on site to make the deal. Double your trade value up to $2,500. Gets you $5,000 to spend. So go through your jewelry box and get that stuff you never wear and get something new and stylish that you're going to love. Great experience, and we will double your trade-in now till the end of May. We can finance you as well. No interest for 5 years. Only at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road. Always online at goldendiamond.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete. and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, are you going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state, or the one that supports your favorite sports show? It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Hey, Tampa Bay, it's time to get your AC unit ready for summer. And here at Third Generation Plumbing and Mechanical, we recommend getting ahead of the game, keeping your family cool before the hot summer months with one of our maintenance agreements in the hopes of avoiding the dreaded emergency service call. Our maintenance agreements include, we'll test the electrical components, check and tighten high and low voltage wire connections. We'll check the refrigerant for manufacturer's performance levels, test thermostats, calibrate if needed, clean the evaporator coil and condenser coil, and clear and treat the drain line and drain pans. Just call us at 813-961-8024 for the special rates, and a human will actually answer. 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on this Monday. If you're just joining us, we talked about the Rays sales, the updates. In a nutshell, Major League Baseball is driving this thing, and this group that has a letter of intent is the one Major League Baseball wants to buy this team because they can get a deal done in Tampa for the stadium. So that's where I think this is headed. And welcome back. Thanks to the good folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Make sure you let them do their insurance checkup. Make sure you have your flood insurance for this hurricane season. I believe there's a 30-day waiting period, so get it now before things really heat up in the tropics. And also make sure that you have enough insurance for your home. A lot of people are not getting what they, frankly, what they deserve in their insurance settlements. And that's another thing. They're going to make sure you're with companies that pay out. There are a lot of companies that will fight you to the death. Want to make sure you're not with one of those companies. So sometimes that might cost a little bit more money, but it's worth it in the long run. You can get all those answers at ItalianoInsurance.com. Call them up, ask for Chelsea, or ask for any of the great sales folks there. They'll be able to help you out. Great customer service at Italiano Insurance. All right, you want to get through some of the other comments here before we move on to Baker?
Yeah.
Bacon? Sure, go ahead. Just throw them up, whatever you want. You can see them.
Let me. There were actually a lot of people talking about the Wander stuff and everything, and this trial and everything.
Yes.
And obviously, it's a little difficult to follow along, but Top Kid's doing a really good job of breaking it down in this morning for us. There was actually an update that he just put out about an hour ago that came out of the case, and everybody's talking about this particular note that came from the trial. I'm trying to find it here. Miss Marta Chevalier, I think that's how you pronounced it, the alleged victim's mother, took the floor today and said that her daughter never had a relationship with Wander Franco and that she never received money to prostitute her daughter. And this has been like, everybody's talking about this particular testimony and what it means and everything. And like, I guess the way I'm reading it, it's like, well, yeah, if she admitted that makes her a criminal too, does it not?
Yes.
Like that's the way I've sort of more so than trying to say, oh, this means Wander's innocent. I don't know that's exactly what that
This was the thing that from the very beginning to me never made a whole lot of sense. Is the woman, because she basically admitted to this, I think on social media or somewhere, I read that she admitted to prostituting her daughter and taking money, or I guess there was evidence presented in the public domain of her extorting Wander Franco. Allegedly. So, yeah, I think that was always weird. It was like, so you're admitting to this part of it. It doesn't mean that he's not guilty of doing some really weird stuff, but I don't know. The whole the case never made sense to me. And the father is withdrawing his complaint as well.
I would just say this too, because there were some comments in here saying like, oh, well, bring Wander back and batting second, shortstop, number 5, Wander Franco. And let me just say this right now. I don't know how you feel, but even if Wander Franco is proven not guilty in this case, I do not see a scenario where he plays baseball again in a Rays uniform. I just can't see it.
Yeah, it's kind of cringe. Let's just be honest.
before this stuff happened, there were already like issues popping up with him in that clubhouse.
Yeah.
And after everything that they've been through with him over the last 2 years with this, I can't see it. I just can't.
But the question is, what are you going to get for him?
I don't even know if you can even properly evaluate what his value would be. But
you still, Major League Baseball was going to do their own investigation, or probably already did their own investigation. So, and they have suspended guys for years without, a quote conviction. I mean, there's precedent for that. So can they invalidate the contract if he's found not guilty?
I don't know, because the way I understand, I could be wrong, but I believe if he's found not guilty, that's when they have to start paying him again. I believe. I
agree. That's what I understand as well. So
it's just been a bizarre case to have to try to follow, because it's taking place in a different country with their laws and everything, and we know the history of extortion in the Dominican Republic. But I mean, just all the stuff that's come out, it just seems like all the signs are pointing. And then the way Wander's kind of, like you said, like I said this morning, like showing up late to the trial today. I mean, just stuff like that just does not a good look.
Yeah, I don't want any part of them. I mean, we're good. Moving forward at shortstop, I think we're fine. We got a lot of young players, and I think he was bad. When he came up, that's kind of when the whole culture, the Rays culture, started to get bad, and there were fights in the clubhouse, and his teammates didn't like him, and they publicly came out and said he's a bad teammate. I mean, have you ever seen a team do that? That was weird.
It just feels like you spent so much time and energy sort of removing some of the bad apples from the clubhouse and sort of to make it a more healthy environment. When you look at Jose Siri being moved out, when you think at Randy Arozarena being moved out, and lo and behold, it looks like Yandy's having the time of his life with this team. You see the Junior Camanero's 21 years old. Guy looks like he's having the most fun ever being out there. All the guys look like they're having a lot of fun.
Good vibe. It's a really good. It goes back to the old Rays vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't see them plugging in something like that into the situation.
I agree. I wouldn't do it. But Major League Baseball's got to. I also don't want to pay him for not playing. Major League Baseball's got to have to do something with that for sure. Any other quotes you want to put up there?
Lonnie said, fans afraid to sell means the Rays could be bad. Well, I tell them that Stu has prevented teams from going all in. So what difference does it make? I mean, the only thing I'll say, it's like when you have a new ownership group come in, that typically they like to do things of course, they're going to want to do their things their way. They may have people that they're looking at to try to put in certain positions. But I think this new group, if this gets done, has to understand that Eric Neander is one of the best at what he does in this entire game. And unless Eric Neander says, I want to go try something new, there's no way you should whatsoever remove Eric Neander and get your own guy in there. I mean, there's no reason for that whatsoever.
If you just bought a very popular restaurant, would you fire the chef? No.
No, if you're making money and the seats are filled every night and the reservations are hard to come by, no, I'm not getting rid of the chef.
No, they would be really dumb to do that. And I don't think this group is dumb. And I think they're also very tied to the Tampa Bay area, which means they're tied to cash. Neander clearly doesn't want to leave here. He loves it here. Why would you mess with baseball operations whatsoever? No, except for one thing. Open the checkbook. Give Neander more freedom. And I'm not saying he has to go out and spend $200 million. You don't need to, but you can't make the case that having an extra $50 million in payroll is going to hurt the team. No way. Not the way.
I think so, no.
No. You give him a chance to make a trade and add payroll, it opens up a whole new universe of players that they can scout and look at.
And that doesn't mean you have to throw away all the methods that you've used over the last 15 years either. I think me and you have always said we would like to have a nice marriage of the two philosophies,
right,
and see how much better you are then. I think that's what we're looking at. We're not looking for you to throw away all the stuff you've done, because the facts are you've won a lot of games doing it this way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just to sprinkle in, all you need is just sprinkle in a couple of proven bats to me. You get a Kyle Tucker, who again would love to play in Tampa under a new ownership group in a new stadium. Would love to, but with the Rays going back to the Trop, he's not going. He won't sign here. No way. He will not play in the Trop. So,
All right, you want to get
That
to
is what
this?
it is.
You want to get to the Baker, the list that shafted Baker a little
Yeah,
bit.
and I don't, could the Rays fall on hard times on the field? Yeah, baseball's, it's tough to win. Yeah, I get it, but I think they would be really stupid to do that. Yeah. So Yahoo.
I'm gonna put up the post here
You
actually.
got it? Okay. So Yahoo Sports comes up with a top 10 quarterback list. And here at the top is, it's a no-brainer. Mahomes, number 1. Jackson, number 2. Allen, number 3. So far, I'm good with all that.
The top 4, you can rank them however you want. That's the
exactly. Burrow, number 4. Okay. Now we get into it. Justin Herbert, number 5.
No way.
I don't get it. He's had plenty of time to prove himself, but I know it's been a little bit dysfunctional for the Chargers, but at some point, greatness shows up early, and I've just not seen greatness in this kid. I've seen some wild throws. I've seen some really incredible athleticism, but just generally speaking, he hasn't won anything, and his numbers have not been that great. So I just, at this point, he's not a 2-3 year player anymore. And he's not the 5th best quarterback in the league, not even close. Matthew Stafford, absolutely. He's proven it all. Won a Super Bowl title. I thought he played last year in the playoffs. I thought he played tremendously well. So, yeah, Matthew Stafford, I get it. Now, Dak Prescott, are you flipping kidding me? Dak Prescott is 7th on this list ahead of Baker Mayfield. And by the way, I'm not putting Herbert ahead of Baker Mayfield.
I mean, I defend Dak Prescott a lot because being quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, being the front man for that franchise and dealing with that ownership, I feel like Dak he's a model citizen. He always answers to his shortcomings and his team's shortcomings. I think he is a really good quarterback, to be honest with you. That is just way overanalyzed because he plays for Dallas. If he's better than Baker, I don't think it's by a long stretch or anything. I think they're pretty comparable.
I would agree with everything you just said, but I'm not putting him above Baker. I would say he's a top 10 quarterback, but I wouldn't have him at 7. And all that.
Seven's a little high.
Seven's a little high for me for Dak.
I have the biggest issue I have with this list is the next 3 names, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the next 3 names are a joke. Geno Smith.
I love Geno. I love Geno, but 8 is rich. 8 is really rich.
No, and he's had a tremendous comeback. My God, look at what he's done. But at 8, no. Ahead of Baker Mayfield at 8, no. And then this one just blows my mind. This guy had we're talking about the Packers love. This guy's had about an 8-game stretch at the end of, was it last season? 2 seasons ago, where he was really, really good. But and had a really good playoff game against the Dallas Cowboys. But other than that, on a general basis, I don't get it. I don't think
he's proven nearly as much as Baker has to this point.
No. And it's not like last year was just an aberration because Baker's put together 2 really solid years in a row.
Yeah, two of his 4 years in Cleveland were really strong too.
Right. And the worst year was, he was trying to play through injuries with a bad team. Yeah. And then CJ Stroud, look, I think he might be a top 10 quarterback in this league, but now is not the time to put him up there. I just, one great year as a rookie, and then last year was not good at all. Not good at all. Now, part of it was he loses Tank Dell, his offensive line falls apart, all that. I get it. But we can't just throw somebody in there without having a little bit more sustained success.
I mean, you have to think. I mean, after his rookie year, and it was a fantastic rookie year, but there were people already trying to put him in top 5 conversations and everything. And the NFL humbles you quick. And is it all on CJ Stroud? No, I think if you go back and look at his tape, I mean, he did the best he possibly could do with the situation around him. That offensive line was absolutely dreadful and unplayable. And then they responded this offseason by trading Laramie Tunsil, by the way. And their offensive line looks even worse on paper than it did last year. So T's and P's to Mr. CJ Stroud. Hell of a talent. Yeah. But again,
I think eventually he'll be a top 10 quarterback in this league. No question.
But again, Baker Mayfield, we're talking about, 4,500 passing yards last year and over 40 touchdowns. Like, I mean, we're talking like
And
rare
a
air stuff.
71% completion rate. And if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken, there's only like 5 other quarterbacks that have put up those a season like that in the history of the game.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I don't know. It's everybody listen, it's a list. Everybody's got a list out there. I don't know. I don't know if I could confidently say I would take Geno Smith and Jordan Love over Baker Mayfield right now. But again, the Bucs just sort of fly under the radar a lot. And I mean, I'm okay with it. I think the Bucs relish that.
I love it. I want more lists like this. Give me as many as you can. We have a verdict?
Do we have a verdict?
Do we have a verdict? We have in the comments.
I'm going back to Twitter here to see if we have something here.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything at the moment, though.
He's saying,
wait. I think this is just prosecutors are seeking a 5-year prison sentence against Wander Franco for sexual abuse, commercial sexual exploitation, and human trafficking of a minor, also requesting payment of a fine of 10 minimum wages against the player. So it doesn't look like a verdict yet, but just what the prosecution is asking for.
Okay, gotcha. All right, we'll keep you posted on that. All right, other stuff to get to. By the way, yeah, I just love every list like this. Keep him off it. Say the Falcons are going to win the division. Dump on the Bucs as much as possible. Every time I read something in the national media like this, I absolutely love it because it's just like, putting that Tesla charger right into Baker Mayfield. It just go. It just charges him up. Let's go. All right. Did you watch Game 7 last night?
I watched the entirety of Game 7 last night. Yes.
Well, that sucked that Halliburton went down. I think that was going to be one hell of a game. Game 7.
I mean, it turned out to be a hell of a game for the first half.
Yeah.
And then Indiana, I mean, listen, TJ McConnell's a nice player, but you can't run an offense through TJ McConnell in Game 7 of NBA Finals.
He scored 12 points in a row, I think, in the third quarter.
I know.
And then they took a cutaway of him. And did you see him? He's bent over. His face is like beet red. His eyes are bloodshot. He was toast. He was done. Yeah, that was the thing is when Halliburton went down, I immediately went to my app and took the under and the Thunder, which I had to give up 9.5 points. So it was getting a little dicey at the end when they put the scrubs in, started turning the ball over. But in the end, my parlay cashed. Thank you very much. But I just thought the defensive pressure by Oklahoma City, SGA is just so good with the ball. He had 29 points. His numbers weren't great at the end because I think he was just trying to waste time and then take a bad shot, which he did a lot at the end. But they got it over and just Holmgren was really, really good. I thought he was mediocre most of the series, but he put in a hell of a Game 7.
Jalen Williams. I mean, if you're not like a hardcore watcher of the NBA, you probably didn't really see much of Jalen Williams play until the finals. Or at least the playoffs. I think he dropped a 40 piece in like Game 2 or Game 3 or something.
Yeah,
like that young man put himself on the big stage. But speaking to the Halliburton injury, obviously we hate seeing that. I mean, that was devastating. I mean, he immediately knew it too. He's like banging the floor with his fist. His father's in the arena. I mean, you just hate that. But he had the calf strain. He had I think it was a grade 2 calf strain, and usually the next thing, unfortunately for that, ends up being a torn Achilles. That's just how it works typically. And I guess what bothers me, and I guess this is more of an ESPN issue, and I have so much to say about them for how they've handled this finals, is all of their commentators, and including, at the forefront of it, Stephen A. Smith or whatever, it's almost like they were like questioning like his toughness or something and talking about, this, he's yelling and everything like, this is Game 7. You got to play. It doesn't matter if you're hurt. You got to play, blah, blah, blah. And like, we're going on and on about this stuff. And of course, Tyrese Halliburton never thought like, oh, I'm not going to play. He understands it. All these guys understand it. These guys are competitors at the highest level and they want to win. Tyrese Halliburton was going to play no matter what, but it seems like his toughness was being questioned a lot. And people were trying to say, oh, he's just using the injury as an excuse. The man just tore his Achilles in front of the entire world.
That was horrible.
Playing for a Game 7. Like, don't question these guys' toughness. Don't question how much they want it. or anything like that. This guy literally tore his Achilles going out there trying to win an NBA championship for the most basketball-rich city in America.
Yeah, and the state too. Indiana.
But with that being said, the Oklahoma City Thunder, I don't think we realize what we just watched. Like, this is objectively, JP, one of the greatest teams of all time. And you can't really argue it.
In the league.
Yeah, and you can't argue it because they just went 84-21, regular season and playoffs included. The only three other teams that have won 84-plus games, playoffs and regular season, were the 2015-2016 Warriors, the 95-96 Bulls, and the 96-97 Bulls. And now the Oklahoma City Thunder 24-25. This was an all-time team we just watched. They got zero publicity throughout the year. Everybody was talking about, oh, well, they're a nice story, but when they play the Lakers in the postseason, they won't win. When they play insert whatever team with big-name superstar, they will not win. They won.
They won.
They won.
Yeah, all the experts. You know, maybe if you're playing solitaire on your computer while you're watching the game, maybe you're not an expert. I don't know. How about that? We never really talked about that.
And that's the other part of this is, you know, ESPN, man, I'm getting so exhausted and worn out by the way they are handling their NBA discussions and their NBA talk. And it's like last night, it's game 7 of the finals. Like, let's analyze the game a little bit. Let's be professional in the moment. And instead I have Stephen A. Smith yelling at me. And I mean, literally yelling at me through the television screen last night to the point where ESPN like took a commercial while he was yelling at us, almost as if they were like, okay, we've heard enough of this. We're going to commercial. Like Bob Myers has to tell him, you know, before the game, just because you yell the loudest doesn't mean you're right. Like Bob Myers has to say that to him before game 7. It just felt like everything turned into ESPN making this about themselves.
Yeah, and that's what they do. They make it about themselves. They make it about their commenters. They make it. They're always in tune. And people say this about the NBA. Well, the NBA is more about the drama than it is the games. That's because that's the way ESPN wants it, and that's the way they do it. They couldn't wait to talk about Kevin Durant being traded to the Rockets. Who effing cares? Let's talk about the Thunder. Let's talk about the Pacers. Let's talk about Halliburton. Let's talk about SGA.
And think about
Chad Holmgren.
And think about what they did to the Pacers. They continued to try to say, oh, the Pacers, you know, nice story, but, you know, lucky run, fluke team, whatever. Like, they just took one of the greatest teams we've ever seen to 7 games. Like, there's nothing fluky about that. Pacers
they just hate it that these teams, Sam Presti made this team out of the draft, no superstars. I mean, they have a superstar in SGA, obviously, but he cobbled this team together with the cast-offs and everybody, you know, while everybody's chasing Durant and LeBron and Paul George and all these other has-beens, this guy's like, let me go get some real players, some good young players, and put them together. And by the way, you notice the way these guys comport themselves? SGA, Williams, and Chad Hall. You know, they are about team. They're about each other together. They're not about self-promotion. And I love it. And the same thing about the Pacers. And I don't know if the NBA I personally, I think this is what will bring the NBA back instead of, you know, all the agenda-driven me stuff. To me, I loved watching this finals. I loved watching these players. I love these teams. It's not, hey, I'm taking my talents to South Beach. I'm going to go get a couple other superstars. Screw GMs, screw the draft, screw the league. We're just going to do this ourselves. Nobody wants to see that. And I got news for you. The Lakers, unless, you know, the league already engineered the Luka thing. That's obvious. But I don't care about them anymore. And I don't care about LeBron, but that's all they're going to shove down our face. Listen, the Rockets won 50 games. They've got a nice young nucleus. And maybe adding Kevin Durant adds to them, but I don't know. I think if I were them, I would have stayed away from that. I would have continued to build it with maybe some other young players.
I mean, I saw the argument for it. I don't think the price they paid was really that exorbitant. Like, I don't think it was that big. And Kevin Durant, like, I mean, he could still play. I mean, there's been no fall off in his game whatsoever. Yeah. It just feels like for whatever reason, everything was off in Phoenix. I don't know what really happened there, but he can still play. But I've been sort of saying, like, I don't think LeBron, I don't think KD, Steph Curry. I mean, some of these, the previous generation's best players that are still playing at a really high level, that's great. But I don't think they're going to win anything ever again. I think this new era is here. The SGAs of the world, the Jokic's of the world, the Anthony Edwards of the world, Tatum last year, Halliburton taking Indiana on this run, Brunson taking New York to the conference final. The new era is here. And maybe it's not the most flashiest superstars that the previous generation was, but I think the overall game is really good when you watch it. And it's a shame. This is like one of the lowest rated finals we've seen in some time. To me, that's your problem if you didn't watch it, because that was high level basketball.
Because all they do is promote these other players. Instead of promoting teams in the game, they promote individual players. That's what the NBA does. That's what ESPN does. All they ever talk about is where are they going? Not the teams. We don't know about all these other players because they never promote them. They don't talk. They don't even talk about them.
It's always about, how can we get they look at the best players around the league, and if they're not in the big market, it's always like a scheme of, well, how can we get them to the big market?
Right.
They did it with Damian Lillard for years when he was in Portland. They're doing it now with Giannis. And even like Stephen A is saying something like, if Giannis doesn't win another ring in Milwaukee, he's a failure. Like, he's failed. Like, no, he hasn't. He won an NBA championship in Milwaukee. Like, it's just like these weird arguments. And they did the same thing, like after the NHL final ended last week, and ESPN decided to talk about it the next day. And I almost was like, oh, what are they going to say? Because they're going to ESPN this up. And lo and behold, rather than talking about what the Florida Panthers just did, one of the greatest hockey teams I have ever laid eyes on, the conversation was, is Connor McDavid played his last game in an Edmonton Oilers uniform? Like, that's exactly what it was. Oh, the Tampa. Where is this coming from?
I don't know. The only way they could get McDavid is if they traded Kucherov. As far as I mean, would I trade Kucherov for Connor McDavid?
Yeah,
I would.
There's a lot of things I would trade for Connor McDavid.
Yeah, is he the only player that, I mean, yeah. I mean, would I trade Cooch for Austin Matthews? Hell no.
I mean, I don't know if I can get there, but no.
I don't think there's another player I would trade him for. I think that's it. Wouldn't be Draisaitl.
I'd trade it for McKinnon for sure, but that's
McKinnon.
That's not even a thing though. But
McKinnon and McDavid, and that's it. It's a short list.
Yeah, and I mean, you could have an opportunity to get him just by signing him to a contract, because what if he decides that, hey, I don't want to sign in Edmonton. I'm going to play my last year out, and I'll become a UFA, and I'm going to sign the richest deal in NHL history. Like, do the Lightning want to make a run then? Maybe. But yeah, I mean, there's these rumors flying around, but pay attention. These rumors are not coming from the big insiders around the league. I've seen this on some podcasts and stuff like that. These haven't come from the insiders. So from now, it's a fun little conversation to have. I don't put too much stock into it.
I don't either. But I think if the NBA allows itself to just grow organically and starts, marketing these teams instead of these has-been agenda-driven players. Of course, I don't think that's where the bosses in China might not like that. But we'll see. We'll see we'll see if the NBA gets it. They have a great opportunity, I think, to regain a ton of their market share that they've lost over the last 5 to 10 years. And we'll see if we do it. Not sure. Any other comments you want to get up in there?
Let me scroll up here because we had a lot of comments coming here from Bucs Basement. Or James rather start. So this is talking about the Baker. This is the Bucs year. Baker in the offense will shine, and the D will improve. Bucs win 12, play in the NFC Championship game. Baker will not have to worry about lust anymore.
But lists,
anymore. Got it.
And he doesn't.
It makes more
care
sense
about those lists. He doesn't give a rat's ass. It's just for us to talk about and fuel him up. That's it. Yeah.
Bucs Basement. I think we talked about going into last season. The thing that will hold the Bucs back is bowls. and injuries. The depth is better this year, but I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid like others are on Todd Bowles. He continues, while I do believe you can improve as an individual as you age, I don't expect this huge leap in year 9 that evidently others like Pewter Report do. It's just, to me, not realistic, but we shall see.
I mean, do coaches change their stripes? I think Todd Bowles has become much more aggressive, and even in the past 2 years. He needs to take it to another level of defensively and in the way he manages games, in my opinion. And he's brought in a game manager, so hopefully, yeah. But yeah, I'm with you in that I still think he is the biggest weakness. Our game management is still the biggest weakness. He has a lot of strengths as a head coach. Culture building is one of them. But I think I have all signs point to him tweaking his defense and tweaking the way he manages games. So until he screws it up again, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's trying to change. So we'll see. That's what the games are all about. Let's go. Let's play them. Let's see what happens.
He also has an interesting note here. You'd think Tampa would be a prime location for a basketball team, to be honest. The Celtics and the Bruins share a stadium. Why can't the Lightning do the same thing with basketball?
Guys, the research. This is one of the lowest rated basketball markets. Like, if you want to talk about low ratings, go look at the ratings in the Tampa Bay market for Game 7. It'll be among the lowest in the major markets. Nobody gives a rip about basketball here. When the Raptors were here, nobody showed up. And you can talk about COVID all you want. We were open at that point, and people weren't going. They just didn't give a rip. Nobody cares about basketball, and we don't need it. Frankly, that would take away sponsorship dollars and tickets and fans from the other sports that we need to support. We need to support our Bucs. We need to support our Rays. We need to support our Lightning. We don't need basketball. End of story. You want to go to a basketball game? Go to Orlando. Go to
that is our team. Like,
right, that's our team.
That's the team I root for. I mean,
yeah. I went to 4 games this year, and you know what? I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're very enjoyable. They're very enjoyable.
Young team,
and they're on the up and up.
And the game presentation is fantastic. It's a lot of fun. Tickets are reasonable. Great arena. Could not give it a higher endorsement. It is really fun.
The markets are too close to each other to have.
Right.
They would never do that. It would never. It's the same reason why, like, you won't have like an MLS Tampa team, really, because Orlando, Tampa. It's just not going to happen. Yeah,
and go take advantage of it. We have an MLS team and an NBA team in Orlando. It's not far. For a weekend day, drive over and enjoy some of the downtown Orlando sucks. TBH. But just go. There's a lot of cool spots in Orlando. iDraw, all that other stuff. Yeah, and then go to a game. Yeah, it's fun. It's really good stuff. We don't need
Jordan G chiming in on the McDavid stuff. He said Connor will be in the mix to come to Tampa next summer as a UFA. Mark my words. It's not absurd. It's like Brady coming to Tampa. We have $31 million in cap space. I guess then we'd be foolish not to offer.
Who's coming off the cap then? That we would have $31 million.
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, what that's going to look like, but I don't know. I know the cap's going up, but it ain't going up by that far.
No,
I don't know, but I mean,
that would be interesting.
It would sort of be a hell of a storyline, though. Connor McDavid can't get past the Florida Panthers for 2 straight years. The Lightning can't get past the Florida Panthers, and so they joined forces. For once and all to try to take down the great Florida Panthers, who. There's been so much talk about how the Lightning, by the way, get back into like trying to be competitive against the Florida Panthers and everything. I mean, it looks like the Panthers are going to hold on to Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
Which I was hoping that would not happen. It looks like they're doing everything they can to get Marchand to come back, and it looks like he wants to come back. I mean, if Bill Zito pulls that off and they bring back those 2 guys, even if they lose Ekblad, the Bennett and Marchand are the 2 players you want.
Right.
I mean, it's incredibly difficult right now, but Julian Breeze-Ball, I do think, probably has something up his sleeve. The Lightning are not working up with much cap right now, but they were heavily interested in Jonathan Toews, which I was not for necessarily. For a 37-year-old player who has been out of the league for 2 years, I was not all in on Jonathan Toews. I understand, according to the insiders, that they were, the Lightning, but that tells me they're trying to be aggressive. And all these trade targets that are out there, the Lightning are mentioned as a team that are trying to land somebody. So I do think there's going to be a move that happens, though, this offseason.
Yeah, I do too. I think, and it might come soon with the draft and the trading of our boy, Hobie Baker winner. What's his name?
Isaac Howard. Yeah. I'd be curious to see the value you can get for an Isaac Howard.
Damn, Hobie Baker winner. Come on.
Yeah, but it's just what leverage do the Lightning have, because he's already said, I'm not playing for you.
Well, 30 other teams want him. That's a lot of leverage.
Yeah.
I would think.
Have you seen, by the way, have you seen the Panthers had their parade yesterday? Have you seen the way they've been sort of like, I guess I have conflicting feelings about the way they've been on this like heater for the last 5 days or whatever. Like on one hand, you just won back-to-back Stanley Cups, celebrate how you want. But I don't know. I guess I didn't realize, like, it seems like this team really hates the Edmonton Oilers, and the Edmonton Oilers really hate them. Because I'm seeing some of their players, they're starting like F. McDavid chants in these clubs in Miami. It's like, I'm like, this is kind of crazy. And I'm like, some of you are going to have to play with this guy in the Olympics,
Yeah, that seems very Pantherish, doesn't it?
I don't know.
We do boat parades. They take it to a club.
It's such a Miami
I'll
thing,
take the boat parade. You can have your disco.
It's such a Miami thing. Hanging out in the
Such a
clubs.
Miami
What's
thing.
the elbow room? The elbow room.
No, the elbow room's cool. I grew up in the elbow room.
I don't know. Maybe we're just
jealous.
jealous.
What is it? 11? Whatever it is.
11 or whatever. Yeah.
That's so Miami. Good for you.
It is. Everything, I was going to say,
try to
everything
steal
that
a
I've
boat
seen has
parade
been
a little
very
bit.
on brand.
They've had it on the boats a little bit, but you can't take the boat parade. Sorry. All right, we're going to take one more break. This is going to be one hell of a tease I got coming up here. First of all, we're going to give some attaboys to a lot of local folks here that did a job over the weekend. Big time job over the weekend at McGill Air Force Base. And the unknown story of the throuple you never wanted to hear about. Me, my wife, and Stu Sternberg. How's that for a tease? Yeah, he ain't going anywhere. Back in 3.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Going through a medical emergency without healthcare insurance can cause you to go into crippling debt. In most scenarios, people are forced to either break into their retirement funds or worse, they're forced to file for bankruptcy. The sad truth is that healthcare insurance is crucial in today's day and age. Look, I get it. Many of you think you're never going to get sick and health insurance is really expensive. Well, we can help you out with that. Depending on your income, we can find great plans and huge discounts. God forbid you get cancer, a car accident. It could literally ruin you financially for life. So make the call and find out. Even though the open enrollment period is over, you may have some qualifying life events that can help you get covered right away. It can be very complicated, a very intimidating process, but we can help. Go to our website and check out all the 5-star reviews about our helpful agents. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles,
$5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. It's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. JP here for my friend Jason Fawcett, owner of On-Site Construction. They do residential and commercial renovations and new construction. As a leading home builder and general contractor, On-Site Construction prides itself on transforming homes through superior craftsmanship, dedication to client vision, and an unmatched commitment to quality and service. It's about building relationships. We take the time to understand our clients' needs, preferences, and budgets so that we can deliver a personalized experience tailored to their unique vision. From the initial designs to the final touches, we're there every step of the way, ensuring that the end result mirrors your vision. Here are some testimonials from happy customers. G. Gibson says, no hidden costs, very honest, reliable, creative, and communicates well. Reasonable and fair with their pricing, no hidden costs. C. Smith said, did not disappoint. I'm very happy with the work. This company really cares and will take care of it. So if you're just thinking about building or renovating, give us a call and let's see what's possible. 813-579-5789 or check out our website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by OnSiteConstructionFL.com. If you're looking to add on to your home or build from the ground up or do some type of renovation work, they are the folks to go to. Get your contractor in line so if a hurricane hits, you will be ready. OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Go to the website, check it out. They got some great pictures of their work. Jason Fawcett is the owner, great dude. So, yeah, give them a call over there. They'll give you a free consultation. All right, before I get to the throuple, I got to say a shout out to the great folks at CENTCOM and our armed forces this weekend who executed Operation Midnight Hammer to absolute perfection. Despite your politics, you have to really give it up for all the folks at CENTCOM, all the Air Force, all the folks involved in these attacks that hopefully will secure peace for generations to come. There's no way on any planet you want folks like the people who run Iran to have a nuclear weapon, because if they had one, they would use it, and that's not good for anybody, as you all know. Hopefully this does not escalate into some protracted war, but the folks at MacDill, the strata tankers that refueled the B-2 bombers, if it was indeed the folks from MacDill, and General Michael Eric Kurilla, who I got to meet at an event about 2 months ago, Operation Homefront, and he did the keynote address. And I came back on that Monday and I told you guys about it, and it was one of the most inspirational, incredible speeches I'd ever heard. And I understand why this man is such an incredible leader, and he's been leading CENTCOM since 2022. 125 planes, 2 B-2 bombers. They dropped over 14 of the bunker-busting bombs, and it looks like they did the job. So an attaboy to all the great folks. I know we got a lot of people at MacDill that watch the show, listen to the show. We really appreciate you guys. It's dangerous work, and it's incredible precision that only our military could have pulled off. So congratulations to all you guys, and let's hope that this leads to peace and not war. So, all right, before we leave, I have to call in my lovely wife. Ashley, come on over here. Nick, you know the lovely Ashley, obviously. So we met a little over 3 years ago. And there she is. There's Nick. Say hello to Nick.
Hi, Nick. I can't hear him, but he can probably.
No, he can hear you.
He can? Oh, okay.
I can hear.
So on our first date, like over 3 years ago. I forget exactly what I think it might have been the day Stu did the playoff banner, or was planning on doing the playoff banner. It might have been, I'm not exactly sure, but it was something stupid that Stu did. And I came to our first date talking all about this guy, Stu Sternberg, who of course she's never heard of. So you could take it from there, honey.
The dude with the dog showed up all sweaty in flip-flops.
It was a lunch date. It was a lunch date.
Right.
By the way.
And I would say probably, 3/4 of the date was taken over by him complaining, bitching, ranting about Stu Sternberg and him wanting to move the Rays to Canada for half of the year. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, I don't really care at all, but okay, continue.
Yeah.
And he basically wouldn't stop the entire date.
Yeah. And so
I feel like I've been in a toxic relationship with Stu Sternberg for the past almost 4 years now, because I wake up to Stu, I go to bed to Stu, I hear about Stu in the middle of the night.
I pick up my phone and God damn it.
Right. So yes, I'd be happy if Stu finally sold the team and we can divorce him.
So I think of all the people that are excited about Stu Sternberg finally selling this team,
Number one.
this is the one right here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I
like to say that I got in a relationship with Stu for his money. That's why I allowed him in this. And you for
but you never got any
other
of it.
reasons aside from that. Right, I didn't. So
Yeah.
it's really been a failure.
So Stu, on the way out, cut her a check, will you?
Please.
Just a little something. I mean,
I won't give any to him because I know he's your public enemy number one. But.
no, Chris Lopolo has taken that over, thankfully.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I just can't get over first date and you're just yapping about Stu Sternberg.
and we're still together.
Nick,
if you
I
can
feel-
believe that.
Relentlessly yapping
I
about
feel
it.
like when I had like my first date with my wife and everything, I wanted to avoid sports by any means necessarily because I was going to like scare her away.
Right.
And even now, it's like when I'm like sometimes talking about sports, I'm not even looking at her, and then I'll look at her and she's not even paying attention. It's just
Right.
not even registering. I'm just yelling at space.
He could not help himself. So if at any time I get hung up on something or talk about like a celebrity and he's like, you shouldn't care about those people, they don't have an impact on your life, I look at him and I say, seriously, because I've been hearing about Stu for 4 years now and about 4 hours already this morning.
I don't know how I survived it. I will say that you may not concur with this, but I probably about 2 years ago said, I really need to dial it back and speaking to about Stu.
That was a lie.
Yeah. So at least I tried.
Right.
Thank you, honey, for that. So if you think I'm happy about Stu leaving, she's way more happy about Stu leaving than I am. But somebody actually, one of my golfing buddies asked me yesterday. It's like, what are you going to do now? Like, what's your stick going to be? I'm like, that's a good question. It's a really good question.
You got to find a new public enemy. Apparently,
we'll figure it out. We
don't have any though. There's no one to go after in Tampa Bay right now. We don't have any public enemies.
Someone will emerge. Absolutely, someone will emerge. Listen, I take no joy in this whatsoever. I take no joy in this. I wish. I go back to 2018 when I went to Havana with the Rays as one of their broadcasters, and I had a nice cup of Cuban coffee with Stu and his lovely wife at the local hotel. We had a nice conversation, and I've never Stu can be very charming, be a really nice guy, and in any other situation, it's never been personal with me, even though he's gotten personal in my life. It never has. It's always been about what's best for Tampa Bay baseball, and he's not best for Tampa Bay baseball just in the general. And I hopefully he will go, and I will not only get my wife back, but she'll get her husband back. I should put it that way. But we'll figure it out. By the way, thanks to Michael who said, "Aw, she's so beautiful, JP." Yes, she is. And Scott V said, or maybe JP punted a 50-yarder inside the one. I did. They're saying I outpunted my coverage, honey. You know what that means, right? Okay, yeah. She said, well, he's pretty special too, is what she said. I think I heard her say. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. Once again, we'll be back tomorrow. Kurt Badenhausen's going to join us. Budenhausen, who wrote the article for Sportico that broke the Zalewski name out there. So we'll get more from him. In fact, I'll be chatting with him later today. So keep an eye on our socials. We may have some breaking news a little bit later on. Have a great day, everybody. For my lovely wife, Ashley, and me, and Nick. See you tomorrow.